Hello, hello, hello. You're looking at HR Legal Issues. I'm your host, Carl Williams, and my co-host, you tell them your own name.
Gloria and Searles, praise God this morning.
Yes. And we're going to jump right on it. Today we're going to start. We got a lot of information to bring you. And as always, we talk about health. But I'm going to start with these other subjects and get them out of the way because we've got a lot to tell you. And we want to inform you so we have a better informed community so we can make better informed decisions. And that's one of the reasons why we find ourselves in the situation that we are in today is because we have sometimes misinformation. And sometimes when you start off with misinformation, well, then you're going to have a objective or whatever it is that you're aiming for. So one of the things that I want to talk about is Reverend Bullock. He got a ticket for obstructing justice. And the reason why I went because he had 4 trials. Not 4 trials, but he had appeared to court 4 times. And that's kind of unusual. Usually twice, maybe, and the third time usually is dismissed. And when I heard that he was going back to court because I believe it was Deetta Wilcox was on Theo Broden's show, and she had mentioned it. So I said, well, maybe I need to go over there and just see what's going on over there because that's kind of unusual. So Theo and myself, we went over there, and I got there and I said, dog, is this the place? Because they're supposed to have a rally at 12:30, and then the hearing's supposed to be at 1 o'clock. Well, we got there, early enough to go to the hearing, around about 1, maybe a little before 1. Wasn't no people outside. I said, well, what's going on here? What, they canceled the hearing or what? And when I pulled up, a gentleman come out to the car, and he seen Theo, and he helped her out the car, and I was going to find a parking place. He said, no, you can park right there. That's all right. I said, okay. So I could get out, and we go to the courtroom. We sitting. I think we sit there about an hour or more waiting for the referee, the judge to come in and deliberate the case. And some of the things I couldn't hear very well because they had the fans going. And you barely could hear it. But I know he didn't plead. He didn't say he pleaded guilty. He said that in so many words that he was not going to challenge it. And I'm paraphrasing now. But when I looked at the charges, and another thing, in the paper, the articles that I was trying to read, and they talked about a young lady who supposedly had done it, broke out some windows of some cars, and that was prompted somebody in the congregation to call the police. And the lady, one of the people who car window got smashed, said that she wasn't going to press charges because it appeared that the woman had mental challenges, and which I can understand that. But what was really interesting to me, the only name was mentioned was Bullock. They had his whole name, Alexander Bullock. You don't know the victim's name. You don't know the woman who's supposed to have been committing the crime, although they didn't charge her. You don't know her name. You don't even know the person who said that they wasn't even going to file it. Nobody's name but Bullock. And I found that kind of strange because usually news reporters usually gives everybody's name.
Mhm.
So when I went in there and I'm trying to, listen to what they were saying, and I did the best I could, and I didn't get a chance to really have a really sit down conversation with him about it because I have a little different point of view of it. Uh, yes, he may have, from the different articles that I've read in the newspaper, uh, both of them said that the police officer uh, marched him across the street because he was, he had been yelling to the police or what's going on. He wanted to know what was going on with, I guess, one of his members of his church. And the police marched him across the street, and I don't know if they told him then not to come back across the street or what. That's kind of, I'm not sure of that. But in any event, I didn't see anything from the videos and the articles that I read or anything that would signify that he obstructed justice. Now, when you struck justice, that's a serious charge.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I said, well, you know what? I don't want to be guessing at this. So I went and got my book, Law Dictionary, Black's Law Dictionary, and I looked up obstructing justice. And it says impeding or instructing those who seeking justice in a court or those who have the duty or power to administer justice therein. I said, oh. I said, well, I don't see no evidence of him really obstructing justice. I do see where he may have disobeyed the police officer order, by coming back across the street, but he didn't hinder them or obstruct them or keep them from doing or exercising their diligent duty. That wasn't done. So I felt like those charges should have been addressed a little differently. I feel that his counsel should have challenged that because, uh, there's a difference in obstruction justice and disobeying a police order or instruction. And that's what he should have been charged with, disobeying a police order. Not obstructing justice because he didn't stop them from performing their duty. He didn't hinder them in any way. He didn't obstruct them. He didn't take the woman and put her in the church which they couldn't get to interview her. He didn't do none of that. So I felt like those charges, should have really been dismissed because they couldn't prove he struck justice. They can prove that he disobeyed a police order, but not obstructing justice. So we got to understand, and when they say something, look it up. That's what I did, although I really already kind of knew, but I wanted to be sure, and I didn't want it to be putting something out here and find out that I was wrong. Because, they tell you in the Black's Law Dictionary, they give you the definition of plead and no contender. Now, no contender is basically what he may have pleaded, but I couldn't hear him, but I did hear him say that he, no contest, which basically is the same thing from what a little bit I heard and what I read. And here, this is Black's Law Dictionary. I Xerox a copy, and it says, plead of no contender, one which has the same effect as a guilty plea in so far as regarding to the proceedings on an indictment, and it is a confession only for the purpose of a criminal prosecution and does not bind the defendant in a civil suit for the same wrong. And I said, oh, They put a little light on the subject.
Wow.
Now, we have to understand these things. Now, from what I heard, the judge found him guilty or something. He got some community work. And I think if he complete that community work, then I think the charges are supposed to be dropped. I didn't get all the ins and outs of it. I was hoping that I'd get a chance to talk to him before the program, but I didn't. He took my name, but I didn't have his contact, but he never contacted me for whatever reason. But I just thought I would bring that out so people will understand. When you are charged with something, look it up and make sure you're being charged for what they say you did. Because that's how a lot of people beat cases. Because that's how I beat cases. I was driving with, I didn't have insurance. I didn't have proof of insurance. I didn't know that there was improper plates on the car. And the car wasn't registered because I just got it. And I got 3 tickets. I was guilty of all 3. But the police officer wrote the ticket up wrong. Now, he wrote the ticket, well, I'd say one of them wrong. The driving without insurance, that one was right. But when he wrote the ticket up, he said that I violated a local statute. But he didn't cite a local statute, which he said that I violated. He cited a Michigan State Code. They're not the same. You have local laws, you have state laws, and you have federal laws. Although they may reflect one another, when they say that you violated a local law, you got to cite that local law. He just can't say, well, pull something out the air and say, well, I'm going to cite this because I caught you and you wrong. No, you got to say, if you say I did something, in order for me to confront or cross-examine or challenge it, I got to know what you wrote. Now, if it ain't down there, how am I going to challenge it?
Yeah.
Now, they didn't like it because I had enough sense to see that. And when I kept looking at the ticket and kept looking at the ticket, I said, well, wait a minute. Something else here. And I look at the ticket and I'm looking at the officer's name. And it's stamped in big bold letters. Bam! I said, well, wait a minute. Something ain't right here. And I said, oh, wait a minute. He didn't sign this. Well, under the law, it says that any time that you swear under oath, and when you get a ticket, it says that they're giving you this ticket, and the statement is under oath. Okay, well then you got to sign it. It got to be in your own handwriting. You can't initial it, and you can't have nobody stamp it. It has to be signed, because guess what? When you go in court, he's no longer bound to the truth because he didn't sign it. I'm going to tell you another little thing that I noticed. When people go to court, notice him. When he tells you to raise your right hand, why is it that the defendant is the only one to raise their right hand? Isn't the officer also testifying? Isn't the prosecutor also testifying? But why is it that the victim is the only one to raise their hand? Now, I mean, these just little bits of things that I think you need to pay attention to and understand. Because right off the bat, you've been being denied equal protection of the law because you're the only one who had to hold your hand up and swear that you're going to tell the truth. The officer, he can stand there and lie all day long because he ain't never rose his hand up. The prosecutor ain't never rose his hand up. So pay attention to these things because these are ways that you can sometimes get something overturned. Because they say you are guaranteed equal protection of the law. That's in the state and federal constitution. Under Article 1, Section 2 says it, and 14th Amendment says it. Both of them says it. So you got a barrel, double shot. But you have to know it in order to use it, in order to benefit from it.
Yeah.
And believe me, it works. It works. I did it, and I'm living proof that it works. But, you know, sometimes it's kind of trying, because at first they're going to do things to discourage you. They're going to say things to discourage you. They're going to do everything to discourage you. But if you stand strong and you stand on the truth, oh, like they say, know the truth and the truth will set you free. It only sets you free if you use it. You can know it all you want. Don't mean nothing. You just going to be an individual to know the truth. But if you use it, well, then you can benefit, and those you come in contact can benefit as well. You know, so, you know, those are just some little things that I was thinking about. And I was talking to Theo, and another thing hit my mind, came to my mind. Everybody remember Barack Obama, our former president. Some people say he's still our president as far as they're concerned, because they don't believe they got one now, and I feel the same way. But when he was running, right before he ran, I remember they telling him that he had to disassociate himself with his pastor, Jeremiah Wright. Well, Jeremiah Wright was an Orthodox preacher, and he would talk about America, about some of the things that they did that was disingenuous, and he would talk about the things that they did was gracious. But they didn't, you know, he was like a rebel in the preaching sect, I would say. And they didn't want nobody attached to nobody like that in the White House. You know, what they call us when you, it'll come to me. But anyway, they made him disassociate himself with Reverend Wright.
Yeah.
He hadn't broke no laws. He hadn't killed nobody. He hadn't did anything to anybody. But he had to disassociate himself. But however, we have the sitting president, Mr. Trump. His main base before and now was terrorists, the Ku Klux Klan members, who have maimed, raped, hanged, disfigured, name it. They have did it. Did anybody ask him to disassociate himself from the Ku Klux Klan? Huh? No. Matter of fact, that's still his base. So you can see how the law and how the principles are applied to blacks compared to white. Everybody can see that, because we're talking about the President of the United States.
Wow.
So nothing has really changed, and it's right there in your face. So when they try to tell you that things has changed and, oh, we need to, you know, go along to get along, bull. Because the government, the way they used the principle for Obama and what they did with this citizen, this president or current president, is evidence of it. It's evidence of it. Now, there's one more thing that I want to talk about before we get into this health. And I'm trying to think what it is. Oh, yeah. I did want to, I got to, you know, never did, but got to give condolence to Aretha Franklin. She was the queen of soul, And to say the Queen of Soul, you know, that's a real heavy title to put on an individual when you understand what the word soul means. And although there was some criticism about the Pastor Williams of what he said, but the main thing that he did, what he said when he described soul, they didn't even talk about that. In the paper, at least I didn't see him talk about that, and I thought that was very touching to me because of what he said, because when you have a lot of people in the limelight who usually their talent to benefit and to bring justice to our people. And Aretha was one of them. You know, a lot of people remember her just as a singer, but she was an activist too. It was Aretha Franklin who was mainly responsible for Angela Davis getting off, which I didn't, I forgot that myself. It's a lot of things that she did. Programs, they would be talking about somebody that needs some help, or Aretha Franklin would take money over there and don't tell them who it's from. Do it anonymously. It's not too many people who have a whole lot of money who display that kind of love and concern. Not talk about it, but show it in their actions. And that's why she was called the Queen, because she didn't just talk it and sang it. She acted and showed it.
Yes.
And she be surely missed. And there was something I know Theo told me that they had mentioned, they was talking about naming Shane Park after her, and she was saying that she felt that, I'm putting it in my own words, beneath that it should be, maybe they should have named Cobo Hall, not Cobo Hall, but the other center after Aretha Franklin. And I kind of have the same sentiment because, it's rare when you find this people like this far and in between that's out and in the public image and have the image to uphold and put themselves out there. Even Colin Kaepernick, even though he's a young man. But people missed the point. What he did was something great, greater than great for far as I'm concerned, because black issues wasn't even talked about no more. They were talking about gay rights, LPA, what they call it? LP something rights, lesbian rights. They were talking about all rights, and black rights had took a back seat and wasn't even mentioned no more until this man stepped up. When he took a knee, then it brought us back into the forefront. And the black issues was being heard again. But then again, just like always, they want to change things and they want to talk about Black Lives Matter. Then you hear people say, well, every life matter. No, every life don't matter when we talk about Black Lives Matter, because black folks are the only ones that getting shot and killed unarmed by white racist police officers. Tell me another race that is doing that. So I don't want to hear that about all lives matter when we're talking about Black Lives Matter, because we are the only ones who are getting shot down, innocent, no gun, no nothing, shot down by policemen, and they justify by saying, I fear for my life. What kind of crazy insanity is this? You fear for your life. If you fear for your life, you don't need to be on the force. Because there's no way, if you got the gun, you got the billy club, you got the badge, and you talking about you fear for your life, and they don't even have a gun, what is he going to do to you? See, so we got to stop buying into all this malarkey when they talking about they fear for their life, because they
Yeah.
fear for their life, they wouldn't be on the police force in the first place.
Yeah.
So we got to stop buying into all this crazy stuff. I know I'm going all over the spectrum, but sometimes you have to do that to get your point across and to maybe, hopefully, wake some of y'all up out there. Stop letting them take your issue and spin it the way they want to spin it. Black Lives Matter because we are the only race that are getting shot down by these racist police officers, and then they're not being held accountable. The only thing that they do is try to justify the killing. So we have a right. Now, if I'm wrong, I'll be humble and say that I'm wrong. But you name another race out here that's being targeted. Name one, and I shut up. But it's no comparison. When you talk about the grief and the harm that we have felt, now there are some good police officers out there, and those that are good, I'm not talking about you. But those that who have done this and who have stand up for those police officers side by side, trying to protect him, talking about you fear for your life, you just as guilty as he is. So I don't have no, love you. I respect the police. And you got some good police, because some of them try to do their job. But,
Yeah.
when you in a kind of mixed, half racist environment, sometimes it's kind of hard to step out front. That's why they used to call it blue blood. They didn't have red blood, they had blue blood, meaning that if you betray us, well, you might have to face the music.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to face the music with your life. It's serious. It ain't no plaything. So, the police officers, every now and then you find one that'll step out, and then sometimes you won't. You don't find too many.
Yeah.
Because it's a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
A lot of y'all
Dangerous for
remember
them,
that
too.
picture, Serpico? That wasn't fiction. That was a real, live, true story. So, you got to be cautious. Ooh, we got a lot of...
That's some calls.
I'm going to take some of these calls.
Okay.
Because time's going here, and I'm trying to get everything in. Hello, caller. You on air?
What happened to you? You hear me okay?
I can't talk a little louder.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Happy Tuesday to both of you.
Happy Tuesday to you.
Thank you. I'm enjoying your presentation, and I want to say that I'm appreciative that the mayor brought up the value of Aretha Franklin, and he said that he wants to name Shane Park, Aretha Franklin Park. I do think, even though he was good at naming something after her, I think she's bigger than Shane Park.
I agree.
She's known around the world. She's said to be a queen by others around the world. So, seeing as how Albert Cobo was a racist, and Albert Cobo was one who destroyed Paradise Valley and Black Bottom, then I think it would be fitting to take his name off of Cobo Hall and rename it Aretha Franklin Convention Center. And not only that, I'm convinced that it would draw many people here just to have their conventions and their other events at Aretha Franklin Convention Center, right here in the city of Detroit.
I totally
What do you
agree.
think? Yeah. But the other thing that I wanted to share is when you think into health, I'm looking for the Gloria talking about the necessity of us drinking water. I experienced dehydration this past weekend, and it is urgently hang up. This coming Saturday, Hood Research meeting is at the Dabo Center on Grand River and Wyoming. 12048 Grand River on the corner of Wyoming. And we'll be there from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay, Hood Research Meeting, Saturday,
Uh-huh.
Grand River and Wyoming
Mm-hmm.
at 2 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. That's September the 8th. Yeah, this coming Saturday.
This coming Saturday. Come
Mhm.
out
Yep.
and share and get it, because when I go sometime, I'd be surprised. So you need to come because you never know who's going to be there. And there's always somebody there that's going to lay down some knowledge and you be well informed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
Theo say, if you knew better, you do better.
That's right.
She absolutely right.
Okay.
And you need to start with Hood Research.
Yeah. Yeah, join and help us to spread the word. Mhm. Okay.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
All right.
See you all Saturday. Peace.
Okay. Caller, you on the air?
Good morning, Carol.
Good morning. How you doing, Sylvia?
You're right on point. But what people don't know, a lot of stars, Prince, and entertainers, and they do things for the community undercover because the powers to be don't want them to reach out and serve and support the community. So a lot of stuff they do it undercover. But when it comes to Aretha, if you're going to put her name out there, it should be on a resource center to support the community, to educate, to liberate, and navigate through the racist policies that we have to fight against every day. Yes, Black Lives Matter, and they don't want you to speak on it. That's why they say all life matters, so they can dilute and continue to exclude you from any knowledge of how history repeats. Today, history repeats with the gentrified and the gentrified that's going on presently. So they don't want you to think about just yourself. Every other ethnicity group thinks about themselves. They take care of home and community and family first. We too busy loving everybody but ourselves because of the conditioning religiously and politically that has tricked and faked and effed us so good. And that's my song.
And you sung it well.
Thank you for taking my call. And then they use the water is weaponized to cause us to gentrify and genocide as well. So we got a lot on the reparations and the restitutions, the tax money. We should never have to pay taxes ever again. We should never have to pay to go to school because they're still using the wealth that it's still turning over wealth from all the free labor that they got out of us.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Thank
right.
you for taking my call. Wake up, y'all.
Thank you for doing it here.
All right.
Yeah, as always, I want to say make sure that you get a federal and a state constitution
Right.
and a city charter, Detroit City Charter. And also, if you can download the Administrative Procedure Act. You don't hear nobody talk about the Administrative Procedure Act, but it is most important because it describes the procedure of how all administrators is supposed to conduct themselves, all administrative agencies, whether federal, state, local, or whatever. You can find the process under the Administrative Procedure Act.
I'm glad you mentioned the charter because now they want to sneak and open up their charter so that it can be an open book for more crooks to make more negative policies against the poor and people of color. And they're already doing a recount because they're finding out that some of these ballots didn't even have the proposal on it to even vote on. So you see how slick and slimy this whole system is? You got to have watchdogs watching the watchdog. That's how deep this rabbit hole is.
That's right.
That's why we need to have 'em. Every citizen, not only black, every citizen need to have a Michigan State Constitution and a federal Constitution. How you gonna defend your rights and the book is free, and you won't even get the book? I mean, you download it online. Online, yeah, you can download it online. But me, I'm a hard book. I like to have mine because I can carry it around with me. And it don't cost that much. It's thin. This is the new federal Constitution. They got a smaller one than this and thinner than this.
Yeah, I got a small one too.
Yeah, I got the small one, and I like that one. But this one here, it's got a little. It ain't too much more different information in, but they got your representatives in there. The other one don't. And this is your state
Thank you,
constitution.
my friend.
They small. It's nothing big about it. You don't have to read the whole thing, but it's just like an ordinary book. It got sections in there. Got one about education.
Read
Got
as
one
you
about
need.
local laws. And you just go to the section that applies to you. School board, got something about the school, got section about the schools. So,
Well, all I know is if you look up the CAFR swindle, the CAFR, which is the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, if y'all just look that up, please, YouTube, the CAFR swindle, they telling you how they stealing your tax money and been stealing it. If you never, ever, ever pay taxes again, they got enough invested through stock exchange and foreign investment and offshore accounts of your tax dollars. That's why your road and your schools and everything else you need, they done bleeded all of the money out of you. And all they can tell you is about a budget that they don't have. Look up, audit that CAFA account that take care of your schools, your federal, state, and city needs, services.
yeah, that capital thing, we're going to have to do a show on that.
Wide open, y'all.
We're going to have to do a show on the capital. Because
Yeah,
I
the
got to do a
capital
little
account.
more
Yeah, a lot of
research
people
because
keep
she
you
is
dumb
right.
Financially, they keep you illiterate financially, so you thinking that your tax money going to school, but can't you see the reality that they shutting the schools down? They got poison in the pipes. So where's your tax money going to? It's going to the thieves that's running things and controlling these politicians and these pimps in the pulpit that look the other way while they lead the community. I can't say it no clearer than that. If y'all don't want to get it, y'all don't want to get it. I'm just trying to do some wake-up calls, y'all.
Well, you just keep on, stay on that capital thing because
I'm
we're
going to stay on that capital
we're gonna
thing,
do a
'cause
program
y'all
on it.
being dumbed down. Everybody is getting your restitutions and your reparations through your tax dollars.
Yeah, we don't stop.
I'm laughing to keep
Keep
on.
on.
So ain't funny.
Stay on it. Keep on the capital because very few
Okay.
people understand what that means, and we're gonna do a program on it.
Yes.
Bring people up to date, but
That's right.
don't think that you ain't being heard. You're being heard, so just
Thank
keep doing the research, and we'll get together and we're gonna do a show on it.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, got one more call. Hello, you on the air?
Yes, good morning, Brother Carl.
Good morning.
Wayne. I like also bring out that, Aretha Franklin in 1972.
We can't hardly hear you, brother. Could you talk just a little bit louder?
Sure. In 1972, in New York, the mosque was attacked. Temple number 7, where Minister Farrakhan was the minister. Within a matter of hours after attack, Aretha Franklin appeared at the mosque, and she asked Brother Farrakhan, was there anything that he needed? And she was there to support the Muslims when the police attacked that mosque in 1972 that they don't talk about. She also told Brother Farrakhan, she asked him, had Jesse Jackson been in contact with him? And he said Jesse had not been in contact with him yet. And she said within 48 hours, she said he will be in touch with you. So she has done a whole lot as far as the movement. When you talk about Black Lives Matter, Brother Carl, if Black lives don't matter, don't know other lives matter, because all life came from the Black life.
Thank you.
And so when you talk about the loss of Black lives or whatever, no one would exist if all Black lives leave the planet. We would start all over again if that happened, Brother Carl. And when we talk about these police officers, Carl, my problem is with that, they don't speak up. You know, in other words, if anyone should speak up about these citizens being shot in the back with their hands up, I think the officers understand who are supposed to be good should be the main ones on the forefront saying, hey, I don't agree with what that officer done. And they should run them off the porch or whatever. Just like they look for in the black community for the neighbors to turn in other neighbors. The police should be the same way. And as the previous caller that said, Brother Carl, taxation without representation is tyranny. And that's been us since they brought us up out of slavery. They have taken our taxes, understand, and we have had no representation for the last 400 years. And that's a fact. Love to both of you. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. Thank you for doing it here. We got another call here. Down, two more calls. Hello, you on there?
Yeah, news bulletin right quick. News bulletin. This coming Thursday at Cobo Hall, there will be a recount. And for those who are available and interested, please be at Cobo Hall this Thursday, 9 a.m. for the recount. There is a close call as it relates to the city charter not being open. It should not be open. So therefore, there is a recount this Thursday, 9 a.m., Cobo Hall. Please come to participate if you can.
Thanks for that. We need that new flag. You heard it right here. Thursday, 9 o'clock, they're going to have a recount on this charter issue, on the votes, you know, because there was a lot of shenanigans and a lot of controversy about that vote. And, oh, yeah, I got to say this. This is the first time that we had a primary election and they didn't say it was a low turnout. Huh? Wasn't no low turnout. But that, if you can, make sure you get down there to participate in the recount. That's Thursday at Cobo Hall, 9 a.m. Be there, show up, because this can make a difference. Because we don't need that, we don't need it open. We don't need to open something when you already have a mechanism to where if you want to add something, you can add it. So what you going to open it up for? So Duggan can rig it. He already got his people in line. That's why he wants the charter open. So he can make some of this stuff that he's doing illegal, legal. That's why he wanted it open. So we don't want it open. So if you can, make it 9 o'clock Thursday, Cobo Hall, so we can have that recount, so we can get the accurate counting of what really happened. Got one more call here, then we're going to go to the health. Hello, you on the air?
Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
My question is on the drainage, have anybody filed a class action lawsuit?
There have been many suits that have been filed, and I've been talking about them, and we talked about them over and over. You've been listening to the program. You probably heard me talk about Boat versus City of Lansing. Then there was a recent case just been filed, Harper Woods versus the City of Harper Woods. And that case has just been won. And they said that the drainage fee was not a fee, that it was a tax. And that was one reason why we should vote on it. And I'm going to hit this right quick. I do have some protests and some disputes that you can fill out, and you can opt out of paying that drainage storage fee. You just fill it in. You fill in one part that tells you how much it was previously, how much it is now, and the difference is what you deduct from your bill, and you pay your bill. Now, I got the
Okay.
forms here. I'm going to leave some at the desk. And if, since I done did the work, least you can come down, least you can do is come down here and get it and fill it out. You don't have to
Okay.
complain about it. We got a remedy for it.
Okay.
But you got to get off your duff, come down here, get a copy of it, and fill it out, and then make 3 copies. Mainly, just make sure you give one to the one that you signed. You give that one to Gary Brown. The other one, the mayor, Duggan, and one could go to Susan McCormick, who is the Great Lakes Water Authority Director. But make sure you do those 2. If you don't do Susan McCormick or the Great Lakes Water Authority, make sure you get Duggan and Gary Brown, the Director of the Water and Sewage Department, just in case we have to go to court. But if we have to go to court, it'll be a slam dunk because it's already been decided.
Okay. Okay, appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Got one more call here. Is that a call there? We're going to have to hold off on some of these calls now because we got to get into this. We want to talk a little bit about the health. And, as always, Gloria, she has some interesting things to tell you. And I know we was talking on a, well, we have talked a number of times about different things about the health and different issues. And you can just, go right ahead.
I was thinking as you said that. Good morning, listeners. I was thinking as you said we keep calling that health, and mainly it's disease.
Oh, thank you for correcting.
Everything is health, healthcare, this and that, and the main thing. I don't know who's attaining that health, but I know it's called that healthcare. I just believe that's something the Creator has given us. We have that anyway, and we allow people to take it away in bits and pieces. But I wanted to talk about that coal tar.
Oh, yeah, go right ahead.
And for those listening and have access to the internet and computers, there is a image, like Google or whatever. It's called the coal tree. I'm sorry, the coal tar tree. If you would pull that image up and look at the leaves of that tree and see all the different chemicals, it's over 200,000 chemicals that they make from that tree. Products. And a lot of them that we are in use of, we are food, drugs, cosmetics, we're eating them. We're taking them as medication, and we're using them as a cosmetic. A body do absorb them, so as they accumulate over time, along with some of the other stuff. I'm strictly talking about the coal tar now. Different disease manifest. One of the things in the book you'll see, if you look it up, it'll talk about. Let me take my glasses off so I can see. It'll talk about some of the products that they make that we are privy to. Is dyes, medications, perfumes, explosives, vitamins, weed killers, nylons, plastics, rubber, man-made rubber, different cleaning fluids, fertilizers, it's in food colorings. We like to eat red and blue and dye and green and purple, polka dot, square watermelons, rectangular bananas, all this foolishness. They're supposed to be so great. Technologists are so great. And We're consuming these products, and whatever it looked like as you consume it, when it gets back in your body, it does a lot of damage, a lot of blockage, a lot of accumulations in places it shouldn't be. And then next thing you've got a growth, you've got a nodule, you got a mass, you've got a tumor, you've got all these things that usually surgical intervention is going to be needed on, that they use. So I wanted to bring it out for people to look, read the ingredients on whatever you're buying. Just look at the ingredients, and if it's about an inch thick, you know, the length of that product, you got to ask yourself, what are all these chemicals doing that's going in your body that really don't come out over time? What is it doing? We don't like to add up stuff, but you got to add. You got to know your math, because somebody else is adding. And after a certain amount of time, if you've been on a certain diet for so many years, so many different cultures, over time, different things are going to arise that'll be prevalent throughout that people, you know?
Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right, and I have to agree with you 100% because I'm reading this book, Slave of the Tongue, by Dr. Farad Zafi. I'm going to spell his name because I might be pronouncing it wrong. Farid Zarif. And they said that he was, he won an award for nutritionist. And this is what he said in his book. Almost all colorant approved for use of food are derived from coal tar and may contain up to 10 ppm of lead and arsenic. I'm going to say that again. All colorants approved for use in food are derived from coal tar and may contain lead and arsenic. Also, not surprisingly, most coal tar colorants could be not potential because it is now, cause cancer. Now, this is an award-winning nutritionist saying this in his book, supporting what she's telling you. So it ain't no joke, and it ain't no lie.
And it's deliberate and intentional.
Now, see, that's
You know,
the key
thing.
word.
Deliberate and intentional. And what we have done, we have not valued the food that the Creator has given us. We look down on it because we think we got to have so much variety. And what we're doing, what it would say, you're eating yourself to death. You know, you're doing it. No one's doing it for you.
No, that's right.
You know, so we have to be more, what we buy, especially colors, dyes, you know, red. You know, you look at these cataracts.
Yeah.
There's an entity that's called Christmas tree cataracts because of all the colors and dyes that kind of settle in the eye. You look at that calcium base, but the dye, why would it be blue, red, green, yellow, you know, purple? These different colors, where do they come from? Is it from the history of Kool-Aid? Is it history from those different dyes and colors that we've consumed, candies? You know, I see people turning up blue drinks and they're drinking blue stuff, and I'm just, Lord have mercy.
They don't
Orange.
They have
We
no
don't even
idea.
understand. See the children guzzling it down,
Yeah.
you know, because it's cheap,
Cheap
and it's
and
plentiful,
color attractive.
and it's cold. You know, we've gotten to that. That, like I said on a couple of programs back, we have got to recognize we have been tricked tremendously. We have got to really repent to the Creator that has given us what would keep us healthy. You know, it's not going to keep you you're not going to live forever in this life, but you don't have to die sick, broke
You don't
down.
have to speed it up. You don't have to speed it up.
You don't have to speed it up, you know. That was one of the things I learned about the aspirin way back. I thought
Yeah.
we were taught that aspirin came from weeping willow. And then when I went to look up that lawsuit on what is that about a lemon law?
Yeah, the lemon. Oh yeah, yeah.
And Mr.
yeah.
Percy Harris told me to look up some
Yeah.
case, and I looked up that case. I didn't know what I was looking up, and it mentioned a case from Bayer back in the 1890s,
Yeah,
where somebody had
marijuana.
used their patent for coal tar derivative. Somebody was using aspirin. I said, aspirin from coal tar. That ain't what I went to that ain't what I went to a UND library to look at. But after it opened up a whole new light, like what? This got little ultra microscopic, shining, glittering little needle-like projections that's just ripping and tearing at a ultra microscopic level, but it's still doing it.
Doing it. Yeah.
And it really amazed me. We're talking way back, 2000, maybe 2001 or earlier. And then when I finally had access to a computer by 2004, unlimited access, I just had to keep, Lord, forgive us. We do not know what we're doing.
No,
and we
we
don't
don't.
understand the words used to us, the language.
That's
Like we
yeah,
mentioned
you're
that,
right,
that
you're right.
deficiency the other
Yeah,
day.
Yeah.
Lack of. And then this A.R. Bernard, I heard him mention, no, it means you're naive, you're uninformed. So we've got to take that into account whenever we get ready to buy something edible and put it on our body, the color and the dyes, what it's going to do with the heat of your body absorbing the fumes or whatever. Thank you.
Well, you heard it here, and you'll be hearing some more. And we need you to support us. So you need to, send in your donations, and just put Carl Williams, HR Legal Research. Put the HR Legal Research down in the memo part, and just put my name on the top, and so we can keep bringing you this kind of information. And like Hassan would say, this is the fastest hour in show business. And till next week, we'll be back the same time, same station. And I'll see you.
Be blessed.
Be blessed.